If you've ever looked at your exhausted child and thought they seemed, just completely emotionally fragile, well, you absolutely aren't imagining things. Today, we're diving straight into the undeniable biological machinery behind childhood anxiety.
Lose one night of sleep and the brain's fear alarm gets dramatically more reactive, while the brakes that calm it go offline. Seriously, just think about that stark biological reality the very next time your kid has a restless night. We're going to look under the hood to see exactly why this happens.
Section 1. The brain's fear alarm. Mechanism 1. The reactive brain.
To really wrap our heads around this, we have to look at actual human brain scans. Using fMRI data, we can see exactly what is happening inside a tired mind. The amygdala, which is basically our brain's fear alarm, always scanning the environment for threats, goes into overdrive. Researchers found that without sleep, when a person faces negative stimuli, this fear center just lights up, completely out of control. It is literally like having an intricate home security system that's been wildly rewired to trigger a blaring siren at the slightest, tiniest breeze.
And when you compare a well-rested brain directly to a sleep-deprived one, the magnitude of the problem becomes crystal clear. The difference in how reactive that fear alarm isn't just some minor statistical blip that only scientists care about. No, it is a massive, towering spike in reactivity.
The crucial point here is that number plus 60%. The research demonstrates a dramatic 60% amplification in amygdala reactivity after sleep loss. 60%. For parents, this translates to something incredibly real and, let's be honest, very challenging. After just one single bad night, your child's fear center becomes incredibly sensitive. The volume on their emotional reactions is cranked up more than half again higher than normal. Section 2. Losing the emotional brakes. The prefrontal amygdala disconnect.
Now, a loud alarm is actually only half of the anatomical problem. We also have to look at the brain's regulatory system. Normally, you have this hyperactive fear alarm, sure, but a region called the medial prefrontal cortex acts as the emotional brakes. It steps in to calm the amygdala down, basically saying, hey, calm down, you're safe. But here is the deeply concerning part. Sleep deprivation literally severs the functional connectivity between these two regions. The emotional brain without sleep is totally disconnected from its calming brakes. So the fear alarm is blaring at full volume, and the prefrontal brakes, they are completely offline.
Section 3. Locking in bravery overnight. Mechanism 2. The learning brain.
So we've talked about the immediate reactive penalty of sleep loss. Now we have to pivot to the long-term learning penalty. To grasp this, we look at human subject evidence regarding a concept called fear extinction. Fear extinction is the process of learning that a previously fearful trigger is actually totally safe. Overcoming a fear isn't just passively forgetting it. That's a huge misconception. It's an active process. It is the active learning of safety by forming brand new inhibiting memories.
Here is how that active learning actually plays out on a timeline. Step 1 is daytime exposure. This is your practice phase. Maybe you're doing exposure therapy, gently helping your child face a specific fear during the day. But the bravery they practice doesn't permanently stick right then and there. It desperately requires step 2, REM sleep. During REM sleep, that newly formed safety memory undergoes a process called consolidation. It essentially gets saved to the brain's hard drive. And that finally leads to step 3, next day resilience, or what researchers call extinction recall.
But think about what happens if that process gets disrupted. Sleep loss impairs extinction recall. The science here is just incredibly clear. If you interrupt that critical REM sleep step, the child's brain fails to consolidate that hard-won bravery. The new safety memory just doesn't get saved. That means all the emotional heavy lifting, all that amazing progress your child made facing their fears yesterday, it simply evaporates.
Section 4. You cannot outpractice exhaustion. Concrete implications for parents.
So what's the practical mandate for us here? How do we approach childhood anxiety armed with this knowledge? Just stack these biological realities side by side. For a well-rested child, their fear alarm is regulated, their emotional brakes are fully connected, and their extinction recall, their bravery, is securely locked in overnight. But for a sleep-deprived child, the fear alarm is amplified by 60%, the brakes are completely disconnected, and their ability to recall safety is severely impaired. Trying to do exposure therapy with an exhausted child is, quite literally, fighting a losing chemical battle. Their entire nervous system is stacked against learning safety.
And this brings us right to the core of our Fear Me Not philosophy. Sleep is the work. It is not a side issue, it's not an afterthought, and it's definitely not a luxury. You have to prioritize rest as the absolute foundation of exposure therapy. A well-rested child holds on to their progress, but you simply cannot outpractice a sleep-deprived fear system. Proper sleep hygiene is a non-negotiable prerequisite for overcoming childhood anxiety.
So, I really want to leave you with a provocative question today, something to help you audit your own family's routine. Is poor sleep actually sabotaging your child's hard-won bravery? Really think deeply about how prioritizing that foundation of rest might completely change the landscape of their emotional resilience. And hey, if you are ready to take the next step and learn exactly how to build that bravery during the day, I highly recommend you go check out our dedicated Fear Extinction Explainer right after this one. Thanks so much for letting me guide you through this fascinating material today.